Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Sunday. We are just over halfway through the international break. We can really start thinking now about Arsenal returning to action next weekend with that big game against Liverpool. But there's still stuff going on despite the old interlull, as it is known. And I just wanted to pop on and talk through a few things on this video. We'll start off with a little bit about Nabil Fekir. He is in the news, being linked with Arsenal again. I thought I'd just tell you what I believe to know about that situation. Also some comments made by Bacary Sagna to me during an interview I did with him on the right back situation at Arsenal. Talk a little bit about Lacazette and Willian as well, and then a bit on the internationals and Odegaard, Saka, that sort of thing. But first of all, to start this video, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all. I've passed the 50,000 subscriptions marker, I think yesterday, and I'm just blown away by that. It's been quite a year getting at grips with this and launching this channel after quite a bit of convincing. A lot of messages from you guys saying I should do one, so I thought I'd take the plunge. And yeah, it's been a really interesting year, been an enjoyable year doing it as well, and the support you guys have given me, I do really appreciate. And to get over 50,000 subscribers is yeah, it's quite a feeling. So thank you very much for that and all your continued support, and I'll continue to do all I can to bring you the latest Arsenal news and keep you as updated as I possibly can with all things about this wonderful yet slightly mad football club. So thank you very much for that, everyone. Right, let's talk about transfers, shall we? And Nabil Fekir, that player who did that mysterious vanishing act at Liverpool a couple of years ago when he was on the verge of signing for Liverpool, was at Anfield, held the shirt, had his photos of the Liverpool shirt, and then bang, transfer collapsed. He was never seen on Merseyside again and ended up at Real Betis in the end, where he is right now. Now he's a player Arsenal have liked for some time. They've always tracked Fekir, and you know, there was a chance at one point not too long ago that he might end up following Alexandre Lacazette to Arsenal from Lyon. Didn't happen. Then obviously the Liverpool move nearly happened, didn't. Lot of varying reasons why that didn't happen. If you talk to people on the player side and on the club side, it all rolls around this non-injury that he is believed to have had that saw that move broke down in the end. But he ended up at Real Betis, where he's been for the last couple of years. He's done all right at Betis. Plenty of goals, plenty of assists, or certainly plenty of assists, and he scored a fair few in his first season. I think he's only got about 3 this season. Did score a wonderful goal recently, though, against Levante, I think it was, individual strike. Very good player. I've always really liked Fekir. He's always someone that I wanted Arsenal to sign a few years ago. And he's in the news again, being linked with a move. Reports in Spain suggesting that Arsenal are still in for Fekir, so Barcelona, and something could happen at the end of the season. So in terms of what I know about this situation is that Arsenal are believed to be still watching Fekir. He's one of the players that they are looking at in the playmaker department. Obviously, I think the priority at the moment is Martin Odegaard and what happens to him. Can Arsenal keep him for at least another season, or even turn that move permanent? If they can, then that will be the option they go for. But there's a lots of ifs and buts involved in that situation, and whether they will have a chance of getting him permanently or back on loan against from Real Madrid, it won't be known until the summer when they sit down with Madrid and discuss that situation with them and the player himself. So they obviously are looking at other options as well. And I Fekir, someone who I'm not going to say regularly been in contact with him, because they haven't, but they've regularly been in contact with his representatives, and they know the situation with him. Now, he's got 2 years left on his deal at Betis. It's a £90 million release clause, a €90 million release clause. Now, I mean, that's not something that Arsenal would ever even consider paying, obviously. I don't think anyone's going to consider paying that for a 27-year-old who supposedly had injury issues in the past. But saying that, he's played an awful lot of football recently in the last few seasons, so those injury issues don't seem to be stopping him playing if he has got them. But Betis, like all clubs, are struggling financially because of the coronavirus pandemic. They need to get some money in this summer, and my understanding is that Fekir could potentially be let go for around €30 million. If an offer of that sort of figure arrived, then Betis could be convinced in letting their playmaker go, and that Arsenal, are aware of all of this situation. Now, I'm not sitting here now saying that Arsenal are going to go for Nabil Fekir in the summer. Absolutely not. I think, as I said, that Martin Odegaard will be the priority in that regard, but Fekir is certainly a player that they are keeping tabs on in case something happens with Odegaard and they have to focus their attentions elsewhere on bringing in a playmaker. There'll be others as well. We all know about Houssem Aouar and how close or how much Arsenal pushed to sign him last summer. Didn't happen. Will that be revisited this summer? It's going to certainly cost an awful lot more than Nabil Fekir will, but he's another option that you would think they would certainly put the feelers out for, to see if there's any suggestion that could happen and if they could afford it, that sort of thing. So it's certainly one to watch with Fekir, but I don't think they're, I don't think they're anywhere near at the stage of, we are going to try and sign him. It's just a case he is one of the options that they're looking at, certainly if Odegaard doesn't happen. Right, I wanted to talk a little bit now about an interview I'd done with Bacary Sagna. You probably saw some of it. I actually uploaded part of the video on this YouTube channel, talking about Spurs in the build-up to North London derby. I put out another little bit today from that interview. He's talking about the right-back situation at Arsenal. Obviously, Sagna, one of Arsenal's best right-backs in a long, long time. Certainly, in my view, best defender we've seen during the Emirates era at Arsenal. Fantastic right-back. Was there for 7 years before he left for Man City after the 2014 FA Cup win. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to right backs, and so I asked him about Hector Bellerin. I asked him about Achraf Hakimi, obviously a player that Arsenal have been linked with as a potential replacement for Bellerin, the right back who's now at Inter Milan after joining them from Madrid last season after those two successful loan seasons in Dortmund. And this is what Bacary had to say about the right-back situation at Arsenal. He said that he wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal are, they've got a player in mind already to replace Bellerin this summer. And when he looked at Hakimi, he said, look, Hakimi is never tired. He always goes forward. He's so fast. I was surprised when I saw him playing for Madrid because for me, he was not that good. You could see the potential, but I never expected him to do as well as he is doing now. And he certainly is doing well now. He's absolutely flying down the right for Inter Milan. So many goals, so many assists. Just an absolute threat. He was for Dortmund as well. Certainly a player that you think if Arsenal are going to look at improving the right-back situation this summer, he would be on the agenda. He wouldn't come cheap though. But he would certainly give a real threat down that right-hand side, similar to what Kieran Tierney does on the left, and you think it would improve Arsenal. Whether Inter would even consider selling him, who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that. But he's one of the players at Arsenal I believe to be looking at as a potential replacement for Hector and Bacary Sagna, who knows what he's talking about. Clearly a big, big fan of him. In terms of Hector, here's what Bacary had to say to me about his situation and what he thought the future could well hold for the Arsenal right back. He said, look, Hector has been there for years now. He started playing not long after I left, so he's been in the team for 6 years or so. And a bit like I felt, he probably feels that he wants to challenge himself because he has been there for a long time. It's nothing to do with the club, nothing to do with winning cups or whatever. At some point, if you want to progress, in my mind, you need to go somewhere and challenge yourself and start from zero again. This is how I felt. He continues, Arsenal was my club and it is still my beloved club, but after 7 years I had the feeling that because I was part of the house, even when I didn't deserve to play, I would play. It's quite tricky as a player. Hector is still young, he's still got 5 good years to play at the top level and he can do it. So if he left now, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I'm very much in the same boat as Sagna there when he talks about Hector in his future. I've said it before, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the summer where Arsenal and Bellerin decide to go separate ways if a decent deal can be found for both parties. Bellerin isn't just going to go to any old club and Arsenal aren't just going to accept any old fee for him. He's still got a couple of years left on his contract. He's played for Spain earlier this season. Yes, a lot of you don't like him at the moment. He seems to become a bit of a whipping boy, which I think is pretty unfair given what he's given to Arsenal over the years. And I still think he's a decent right back. Do I think Arsenal can improve on him? Yes, I do. I think that's certainly an area Arsenal need to look to strengthen this summer. Even so, I think some of the abuse Hector gets bang out of order. But this is social media and it happens. I know that. Not that should absolve anyone of any blame when they abuse anyone on Twitter, especially someone like Hector, who I think is a really, really good bloke doing good things. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. And interesting comments, I thought, from Bacary Sagna there, who certainly knows a bit or two about the right-back situation at Arsenal. Okay, quickly on to Alexandre Lacazette's story from ESPN doing the rounds over the last day or so that 3 clubs are looking to sign Lacazette potentially this summer. Sevilla, Roma and once again Atletico Madrid, a club that have tried to sign Alexandre Lacazette numerous times over his career. Probably would have gone there. In fact, he would have gone there before he went to Arsenal had Atletico not been slapped with a transfer ban just before that deal was pretty much all agreed that he was going to be going to Spain. They're still a fan. Simeone's still the manager in charge. He's a fan of his. And they'll certainly keeping tabs on the situation with Lacazette. 1 year left on his contract and no talks about an extension taking place yet. So interesting story there from ESPN. They do say that in that story that Lacazette is in a good position. He's very well liked. Mikel Arteta sees him as a big leader in the changing room, so he's in a good position when it comes to contract talks in the summer, and that Arteta might be keen on keeping him. I've said it before, my opinion on Lacazette is that I think this is the time that Arsenal should look to cash in on him. I don't really agree with giving him a new contract now. I think you want to try and freshen up that forward department this summer, and if you can do that by selling Lacazette, bringing money in, and then using that to reinvest in bringing in a younger forward who's potentially got a little bit more pace about him than Lacazette does, but can also hold up the ball pretty well. I think it's a good opportunity for Arsenal to do that now. If they give Lacazette a new contract, you're basically agreeing to keep him here till the end of his career, near as much anyway. You're not going to get any sort of sell-on value for him, and potentially you'd think his performances are only going to decline from this sort of period given his age. So my view, as I've said before, is that Arsenal should look to cash in on Lacazette, and what ESPN say here certainly doesn't seem like they'll be short of suitors if they let it be known to clubs that he's for sale: Sevilla, Roma and Atletico, according to ESPN. A little bit on Willian now. He's been talking also to ESPN, actually, also ESPN Brazil during the international break. Some interesting comments from Willian. Obviously, it's been a interesting first season for Willian in Arsenal. Had that really good start against Fulham, then absolutely stunk the place out for months. Was dreadful, awful looking signing. He has come back to form recently, or shown a lot better signs of form. He's starting getting a lot more assists on a regular basis. He's actually Arsenal's leading assist maker now in this season, and he's playing better. It's not just assists; he's actually playing better. But he's been talking about his first season at Arsenal and how tough it was. And quite interesting comments for him that I thought I'd just quickly share for you now. He said it was a really difficult start, but apart from that first game against Fulham, where I had a good performance, setting up the 2 or 3 goals and the 3-0 win, I managed to make a good game. Even after that game, there were games we won. I had a good game. But then we ended up getting a bad streak. I also got a bad streak, and I think it was my worst professional time to date since I went up to Corinthians and was sold to Ukraine and arrived at Chelsea, without a doubt. But that phase has passed now. The worst is over, and I think I'll say that again. The phase that passed now was the worst time that I think I lived as a professional. Of course, when you live in a difficult moment, you get really upset and try to find solutions, a way to improve, to try and help the team. That's what I've been doing all the time. Interesting comments there from Willian, but yeah, I mean, he admits it was the worst time as his professional. So really difficult, even for an experienced player. You think, oh God, you can get through that probably. It's not affecting you too much, but after all those years in football, everything that he's achieved, everything that he's gone through, said that those few months at Arsenal when his form dipped was his worst as a professional. But it's good to see Willian is beginning to at least find some sort of form now. Whether he should be starting on a regular basis, I think you all know the answer to that. In my view, no, he shouldn't be. But if he does, at least he's showing some signs of good form and he's beginning to contribute, which for those couple of months leading up to Christmas, he certainly wasn't doing that. Before I go, let's quickly talk about injuries, shall we, and the international break, what's been going on. Good news on Martin Odegaard, or I don't know, would you describe this as good news or not? In fact, he played 90 minutes yesterday for Denmark. Big surprise against Turkey. They lost 3-0, actually, got absolutely hammered, did the Danes, against the Turkey side, which I think are going to surprise an awful lot of people. Over the next few years, I think they are one of the most up-and-coming teams in Europe. Some absolutely fantastic players. Tore Denmark apart yesterday, 3-0 win. But Odegaard did play 90 minutes. We all saw that ankle injury sustained at the weekend against Gibraltar. No one thought he was going to be involved. He hadn't been training with the team until the day before the game. Still back, and the manager said thought time was running out. But lo and behold, when the team sheet was announced yesterday, Odegaard was captain and started, and he played the full 90 minutes. So obviously you would think, given that the ankle situation isn't bad with him, and he's all good. So Arsenal will certainly be happy with that. Whether they'll be happy with the fact he's played 90 minutes given the injury that he suffered you'd think that might be a little bit of a different thing in terms of the mood back at London Colney with that. And they've still got another game to go. Denmark still got one more game. Sorry, Norway still got one more game. Did I call him Danish earlier on in this video? I think I did. Sorry, apologies to all you Norwegians out there. Are probably absolutely fuming at the moment that I did that. Obviously, he's Norwegian. So they've got one more game to go, Norway, and you think he's captain, he's probably going to play in that as well. So Arsenal will be sitting there with fingers crossed that he is 100% all right after that injury he sustained against Gibraltar. Quickly on Bacary Sagna, I'm sure you've seen he's back at London Colney permanently now. He's not going to be linking up with England for the 2 games they've got left this week with that hamstring issue. So Arsenal are going to be working with him to try and get him fit for the Liverpool game. Again, I think we're all going to be breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief from that. He's needed a bit of a break, Saka. I thought he's been tired in the build-up to this latest international break. His performances have dipped a little bit. Then he got the hamstring injury. The last thing you want to do is push him, given the amount of minutes he's played this season, given his importance to the team and given his age. And so Arsenal will be delighted that he can just have a couple of weeks back at London Colney, working on that hamstring, making sure it's okay, and hopefully getting him fit again in time for the Liverpool game, which comes next week. All right, thank you very much for that, everyone. I'm going to try and do a Q&A potentially tomorrow on Monday to celebrate 50,000 subscribers. I'll try and do that around lunchtime on Monday, so look out for that one. Everyone enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Please do. Not the nicest of weather out there, but it's going to get very, very hot apparently for the next few days, so that's something to look forward to. Until tomorrow, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.